welcome into the Junior and Senior Nothing But Sports podcast. Today, we're going to pick every Week 1 game in the NFL schedule. NFL starts on Thursday at 7:15. We're going to get... Oh, it's the wrong game. We're going to get... There we go. Ravens at Chiefs to start. As usual, the defending Super Bowl champs will get to host the opening game. Last year, the Lions went into KC and beat them in the opening game. I did not see that coming at all. So hopefully we're going to get some good games here early on here in Week 1. But we're going to start out with the opening game. Ravens at Chiefs, Thursday night. Who you got, Pops, for the first game of the season?
I got the Ravens to kick off the season by beating the reigning champs. In the National Football League, that's definitely one of the toughest places to go in and win a game. I really don't care who you are, who you got, but unfortunately, I kind of care about who Baltimore has. One in particular, Derrick Henry. Probably the one missing piece that, that's been missing for quite a couple years. And last I checked, Kansas City's rushing defense has not been the best. In fact, it hasn't been all of that good. You can actually run the ball on them. And no better way to run the ball on KC's defense than King Henry. Mix that in with Lamar Jackson, pass, RPO, run, use his legs. Just a mixture of those two is really going to be dangerous throughout the entire season as long as both stay healthy. And I think they kicked their campaign off to a good start, especially based on what happened in the AFC Championship game last season. I look for them. Just don't get me wrong. I mean, you get Patrick Mahomes. So don't make no mistake about it. The greatest quarterback on the planet right about now. He's going to have something to say about it. But, unfortunately, him and Travis Kelce does not play defense. So, I look for it to be a fairly somewhat high-scoring game. Not in the 40s, 50s, anything like that. But it's definitely going to be somewhere in the 30s between both teams. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to who has the ball, who's going to have the last possession. In my opinion, whether they need a field goal or a last-minute touchdown. But at the end of the day, if they have put it all together on the field in the off-season and it translates to anything that goes down this Thursday night, I like Baltimore in this one.
I don't want to agree, but I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. As we saw from last year, it doesn't seem to matter how good or bad this team is in the regular season, as long as they're good enough to get to the playoffs, much like how the Patriots were at times. As long as they're good enough to get to the playoffs, they're going to be in it.
Of course, both teams are going to be in it.
I think the Ravens, to me, you get Derrick Henry. Running was never really their issue. Their issue was more spreading the ball around and Lamar Jackson playing better in the postseason, because he pretty much gave away that championship game. I was very disappointed in him. That was their chance to get to the Super Bowl, because I really thought they were going to beat the Niners down again. But that was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from him. The best play he probably had in that game was when he threw it and caught it himself. And of course they fumbled it late when they had a chance to really come back, but he didn't play well at all. I expect him to come out motivated because it is a regular season game, and I expect them to come on the road and win a 27-24 type game. Chiefs defense was really good last year, one of the better defenses in the NFL. You lose Snead to the Titans, one of the best corners in football. You lose one of your linebackers to us. So a couple of pieces that were instrumental in that defense. And offensively, Mahomes obviously is great. Kelsey, who didn't have his best year last year, but he's still one of the better tight ends in the NFL. You get Brown, who I believe is not playing this game. So Xavier Worthy, their first round pick, is going to have to step up. I believe he will, because he is a freak of a receiver. But I do believe the Ravens are going to win. I think their defense is going to be one of the best in the NFL. And I think they will be motivated to come in after. And their defense played great in that championship game. I think they held the Chiefs to no points in the second half of that AFC championship. But they couldn't score. So I don't think the Ravens are going to turn it over. I think they're going to get back to ground and pound, kind of like they did more their first year around with Lamar Jackson and healthy running backs. So that's also been an issue for them, is keeping their running backs healthy. So I expect them with Henry to really run downhill. There's nobody on that defense who can stop Lamar running. So like I said, 27-24 late field goal. They also have the best kicker in the NFL, probably of all time, and Justin Tucker. So I expect this to be a great opening game, but I have the Ravens winning by 3 points. The next game we got is our first ever Friday NFL game to start in Brazil. Technically a neutral site game. This is the first game in Brazil and also the first game on a Friday. We're going to get Packers and Eagles. Who do you have winning that game on the first NFL game on a Friday?
Again, key additions on the Eagles' part. Sorry I'm about to say this, but I'm keeping it 100. This is about X's and O's. This ain't about who you hate. Philly's going to win this one.
Oh.
It's going to be a combination of Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. He's healthy, no issues in the off season. Look like he's gonna pick the season off 100%. You got AJ Brown, you got Devontae Smith. The list goes on and on. It's kind of hard to deny that offense unless somebody can really figure them out and slow them down. I just don't see Green Bay's defense being that team to actually do that. However, Jordan Love has definitely elevated his game thanks to us. But we've come to know what we've come to know even before that game, that Jordan Love is pretty good, and he's only going to get better and better and even more dangerous the more he continues to know that offense. So again, some scoring is going to go down, but I just like Philly's defense slightly over Green Bay's defense, and definitely like the offensive weapons that the quartet that they have put together for Hurts. They literally just they did what a lot of teams should do with young quarterbacks, and he's still young. They built around him. They didn't focus just on him. They focused on making the pieces around him better. And as they say in the National Football League, regardless of how they made the rules to jack up points and these offenses and all yada yada, you have to establish some fracture of a running game. And they went out and they got Saquon. They didn't get him just to stand on the sidelines. He's getting ready to tote that rock, and so a lot of RPOs probably coming from that team. Hurts throws really good on the run, some rollouts, some play action pass. What are you going to focus on? You going to focus all your attention on Saquon, or you going to focus on just going after Hurts? Because you got AJ Brown, you got a lot of weapons running around out there, and again, AJ Brown is just a monster. Like I said, I hate this team because they're in my team position. But we talking about football and we talking about play on the field. We not talking about who you hate and who you love. We talking about X's. This is an X's and O's thing with me. But he's a monster. I'm not saying he's not. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it 100. So and that's the reason why I like Philly over Green Bay.
All right.
Close, but they beat him.
I don't know. That was just, it tickled me.
It should.
Packers and Eagles, man. Honestly, when I saw this matchup was where it is, and what day it was on, I said, unlike the Ravens and Chiefs, I think that game will be more of what you come to expect from two great teams. I think this is going to be an odd game. I think it'll be a good game, but it's going to be a game like you expect, kind of like early on week one games in college, where when you have two good teams facing each other in college, where it was like the Notre Dame A&M game last night. Tough, gritty defensive game. Teams still trying to figure each other out, trying to get new pieces in. That's how I think this game is going to go. It's going to be I honestly think it's going to be a low-scoring game, kind of like a 20 to 17 type game. Something weird happens, like a safety or something. These are two teams that a lot of people are high on this year, including myself, because I actually had the Eagles winning that division, and we didn't actually make our playoff picks yet, but we're going to do that before Thursday. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Eagles in this game. The Packers, to me, there's people talking about them like they're going to win, that they haven't won in the division. And the Lions, who we will get to, I think, are going to win that division yet again. I think they're the cream of the crop in that division. Now, that's also a tough division now because, well, with the exception of the Vikings, but you got Caleb Williams and the Bears coming in. The Lions coming back. They want more. They felt like they blew it last year in the championship game. And you have the Packers, who Jordan Love, let's be honest, that game against the Cowboys, they made him look like Brett Favre out there, that Cowboys defense. I mean, that was, I never saw that coming. I always hate on the Cowboys and whatnot. I had nothing to say because I didn't see that coming. The way they were able to just do whatever they wanted in that game. There were guys running wide open down the sideline. I couldn't believe it. Now, do I think that's going to happen this year? Heck no. I might not even have the Packers making the playoffs this year. I just don't. I think we look at that one game, and now everybody is jumping on the train, and I get it. You know, he showed some strides and some good things, but do we not forget the entire season they had, which was fine, but before that game, he didn't really do anything to me to suggest that he's going to be in MVP conversations and he's going to lead him to a Super Bowl. I think it was one weird game where they got the better of a Cowboys team that's been relatively good for the last couple of years. But no, I don't have as much faith as most people do in the Packers. I like Jordan Love. He sat back. He waited his turn. And other guys pretty much last year who had the same opportunities, like a Jake Browning, when he got the opportunity, they showed up. But this Packers defense, I'm not too sure about. Are they going to be able to stop the running with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley? Because I think the Eagles are going to get back to what happened 2 years ago when they had Swift, and they're able to use both of those guys, much like you got Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So I expect them to get back to more of those RPO type and zone type runs and play, especially play action. If they can kick it out, you've got Barkley who can catch. You got A.J. Brown. You got Smith. You've got a couple guys who can make plays, especially going downfield. So I expect the Eagles to, like I said, I have them winning the division. I expect them to be a top 2 or 3 seed this year. I think last year was a poor representation of who this team is. And I thought they had a really bad year. They still made the playoffs because they still have the collection of talent that they do. But Noah Reddick, you lose him. and I think he was one of the anchors of that defense that was not good at all. But give me the Eagles to get the job done and beat the Packers in a weird game that we're probably going to be talking about the next week, as it was sloppies, penalties, first time in another country as far as Brazil goes. I don't know how that's going to go. So, like I said, low scoring. I don't think we learned too much from either team, but I will pick the Eagles. Now, we get off into the Sunday slate, which really is going to be the slate that tells us most early on about maybe we get some surprise teams or some teams we already know, and then some teams, like I said, that we don't know. Let's start off with the 12 o'clock slate. Steelers, Russell Wilson at quarterbacks against Kirk Cousins and the Falcons in Atlanta. Who do you got winning that matchup?
The Falcons, because I just don't trust what's going on in Pittsburgh until I actually see with my own eyes. But since we're going on pick'ems and predictions there, I'll give Kirk Cousins and that offense the nod. Pittsburgh, something about me feels like about mid-season, maybe earlier than that, we'll be looking at Justin Fields instead of Russell Wilson. Or we might be looking at them both. Mike Tomlin, I really truly believe in his heart of hearts does not have this team what he really wants them to be at. That defense can get scored on pretty much by anybody. And I look for Pittsburgh to have a really, really bad regular season this year. And it's really based on they have no identity. They don't have a solid go-to quarterback guy. I mean, they went with Russell Wilson. A lot of the experts or talking heads, quote-unquote, out there in TV land, pick Justin Fields. A tad bit more mobile than Russ. Russ is not prime Russ. It's not let Russ cook. It's not the Russ we've seen from in Seattle, and it has nothing to do with Sean Payton and the Broncos. It's just he's not consistent enough anymore like he used to be, and they just don't have an offense that's going to consistently move the ball up the field and do what needs to be done. And it starts in the ATL. I'm not a huge Kirk Cousins fan, but the man has been in the postseason. You give him a weapon or two, he'll do his thing. And I just like Atlanta's overall squad. So I like Atlanta to come out of this one, and don't be surprised. Not saying they will, but I'm saying don't be surprised if it's a wide margin of victory.
All right, we're finally going to disagree here. I'm happy. I'm happy this is the game we do it on, because I hate the Falcons.
I mean, I don't like them either.
As the people will come to know. But also, people have to realize that in week one, when you pick in the NFL, there's from probably week 1 to week 5, every team's going to play, so there'll be no bye weeks. So that's approximately 16 games a week. So there's going to be, as there are every week, there's going to be some games where you just look up and say, what's going on? There's always at least one. There's always going to be one game where a team just gets run over at home that you never thought. And then there's teams that you didn't see based off of off-season issues that come out early and get something going. So I think the Steelers are going to win. Now, most people would have that being an upset just because most people have the Falcons winning that division in good fashion. They're going to be competitive because of the guys they have brought in are guys that can make a difference on that team. When you talk about Kirk Cousins, who, again, when it comes to a 12 o'clock game, he's one of the better quarterbacks in NFL history almost. But prime time hasn't been his thing. This is an early game at home. I expect him to play well, but I expect the Steelers, they are healthy. You got Fitzpatrick, you got T.J. Watt, and you got Patrick Queen from the Ravens, who was an anchor on that defense, one of the leaders on that Ravens defense. So that defense is going to be stacked as usual. If that defense is healthy, they're going to be one of the best defenses in the NFL. On the offensive side, you got Russ starting. I expected that. He's the veteran. As everybody knows, everybody said, if he doesn't play well early, he's not going to be. It won't be in this game. Even if he doesn't play well in this game, it'll be a couple games. But if he doesn't show that leadership and guides this team in the right way, yes, Justin Fields will be in there. But let's not kid ourselves. I like Russ, baby. We're going to let Russ cook and get that win again.